All right, next, let's do some basic styling here. In this video, we're not going to change any of our actual logic or introduce new components. It's pure CSS. So if you don't care about that and you have better styles, or you don't and you just don't care, then you can skip this as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is first get these to be actual cards. Right now they are divs, I think, that go all the way across. I'm going to use a little bit of Flexbox to help me out. First, I'm going to add in a new div to put all of the cards in, and I'm going to give it a class name of Pokedex-cards. Remember that it's conventional, it's not mandatory, but you'll often see other classes inside of a component be prefixed with the name of the component. So Pokedex-cards, Pokedex-title. Okay, so now we have a div where all of the actual cards are inside of. And now I can go to my Pokedex CSS and we can select the Pokedex-cards. And then I'm going to set display to be flex. However, you probably won't see a change because as of now, our CSS file is not connected. So we need to import inside of the Pokedex component /Pokedex.css. So I usually like to do that at the very beginning when I make a new file. I just forgot. Okay, so now if we take a look, all of our components are aligned. So they're still not looking great, but they're no longer vertically stacked on top of each other. So again, if you're not super familiar with Flexbox, this is going to be kind of overwhelming, but I'm going to go to PokeCard CSS and I'm going to give each PokeCard a width. Let's say like 250 pixels maybe a little larger. Yeah, that's okay for now. Then I'm going to go back to Pokedex cards, and I'm going to give them a justify content. So this is a Flexbox property, and give it a space between or space evenly, I think is what looks better. However, right now there is no space to be shared between them. So what I then do is say flex wrap is okay. So flex wrap says it's all right for you to wrap over to the next line. Still not great looking. So next we're going to come in and add a little more padding and margin to the actual cards. So let's go to a PokeCard, and I'm going to change this. I think 300 pixels might work better. And then I'm going to give them some padding, so 10 pixels or so, and then margin 1 rem, R-E-M. And let's save and see how that looks. Okay, that's looking better. I'm also, while I'm here, going to do a box shadow, which is just purely decorative. So box shadow, I used a little tool online that lets you visualize box shadows because I can never figure out what they're going to look like. So I did not come up with these values off the top of my head. And then you give it a color. So this is all about where the shadow goes and the size of it. And the color I used is an RGBA 000, so black, except it's 0.56 for its opacity, the alpha channel. Okay, so now we have this little box shadow, making them look a little more three-dimensional. And I'm going to get rid of this border for now, which is going to look kind of weird right now, just to have the box shadow, but I'm going to change the background color of the entire app. So we could do this in app CSS, or we can do it in index CSS. So right now, app CSS contains all the default create React app stuff. I'm going to delete it all that default content. The thing is, I don't want my background color to only affect the app component. So the better place to put it is in the index CSS, which basically affects the entire application, every part of it. So inside of the body, I'm going to give it a color or a background color. So background color is ECEFF1. Okay. And then while I'm here, I'm also going to do a text color, which is 4D. Easy enough. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so we are missing this text centered that we had earlier. So on the PokeCard, we can do that. Just say text align center. There we go, it's back to being centered. Another change I'm going to make is to give the cards a background of white. Right now they're getting the same background as the body. So inside of the cards, we can just do background color white, or FFFF, I think. Lastly, I think I added a little bit of a border radius. So let's do that. Border dash radius. I think it was like 3 pixels or so. We can play around with it. And that just rounds the corners a little bit. It's kind of hard to see on the recording. Next up, I'm going to go back to my PokeCard component right here and change some of the content in here. I'm not going to add any new logic. I'm just going to add some class names to help me style this. So the first thing that I'll do is add in a PokeCard title class or PokeCard name for this H1 right here. So we'll do class name equals PokeCard dash title. And then further down where we have these two, rather than PokeCard type and PokeCard experience, I'm going to do a class on both of them just called PokeCard data. Perfect, like that. And then back in here in our CSS file for PokeCard, I'm going to select PokeCard data or data and give it a font size. I'm going to do a percentage based, just do 80%. Let's see how that's looking. Okay, so that shrinks it down a bit. We also could change the font, of course, and then we have this title up here that we might want to center. But I'm going to leave this alone because I'm going to soon update and edit these cards. I'm going to add in the Pokegame logic in the next video. So we have better images, first of all. Then we're also going to have the logic to actually count the hands and compare them to one another, the experience, the totals, who wins, who loses. So we have some other stuff to add in, and then we'll style it as well. All right,